Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's the BBC Spews live, the only one we do now because of Susan. It's the 24th of May. Nice one. How we all doing? Everyone's still breathing? I am, although slightly less freely than I was last week. Who's in? Sad Wings, always whinging about me being late, like a good Sergeant Major. David Mitchell, Ginger Mongoose, how you doing? Derek, Jeff Wedden, Blue Falcons, Alan Lloyd, Tess Darcy. Now then, Sam Saxon, Vivian, This is England, Phil Hewitt, Mozzie, Kev Keener, Martin Wildling, Miff Matlow. That's the only type of Matlow there is. They're always miffed about something. The Sash, This is England, Marcus G, Yellow to you, Matty Nung Wagbo, Sean Rye, James Hayes in. Now then, Jim, I'll see you next week, old son. Ragnar, Debs Red, Davy Boy, my favourite resident codhead, Davy Boy, Blue Van Man. Now then, Nick Yak, Kate, Denise, anybody I've missed? How are you doing? Oh yeah, and Scouts Obi, the only Scouter I can tolerate. Right, lots of good stuff to do today. This story was sent to me by an unnamed source. I nearly named him there, but he's still a serving Met copper. So, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, we'll keep that one under our collective berets. Suffice it to say, he was a former colleague of mine. Sent me this. Fucking brilliant. But while I'm on, though, if anyone who's a particular Angry Bootneck train spotter and can remember and find me a link to the video that I made about it, do you remember about what? I found a story. It was April 20th last year. So, that'll give you some straws in the wind with regards to locating it, but I made a video about this horrible little fat kid who was physically knifing people, right? And a copper shot her in Ohio. In fact, I'll put this story on, it might jog some memories. I've noticed as well the memory hold the video. The world we're living in is fucking insane. Like I say it every day, but it's crazy. The memory hole, it's got to the point where if a person that commits a crime isn't a straight white man, they try and hide the crime. Like if it's a straight white man, they put it on the news for a week. But if it's anybody else, they go, nothing to see here. Like, what planet are you living on when you think when you're so pathologized into racial identity politics that you're willing to overlook any act? I mean, because that's not hyperbole either, is it? If you're talking about crime, any act, yeah? Crime is a very large umbrella, but suffice it to say, it's an umbrella with many, many crazy things under it. It's almost like I can riff, completely just make shit up because I think it'll be funny. And it'll fall under the umbrella of crime. That's how disturbing the word crime is. If I was to just start riffing and say, like, you know what I should do tomorrow? I should, well, no, I can't say me. That'd be, I'm sure YouTube would get me for some form of fictional warped crime that I'm going to invent all of a sudden. But if I was to say something like, there's a bloke out there who, as we speak, is probably skull fucking a corpse in his bathtub. It's happening. It's a very crazy world we live in. You know, it's like anything I could think of, which would be created by the foul denizens of the warp in 40K, which is literally, it's essentially hell. It's the third reality created from the collective gestalt human and any living entity's psychic backlash. It's basically hell. If you can think of it, it's happening somewhere under the umbrella of crime. Somewhere. Jeffrey Dahmer's my favourite because I read a book about him. He literally had a shrine of painted skulls in his house. Like there was pink skulls, grey skulls, gold skulls, brown skulls. He used to spray them and he had them in a little altar in his bedroom. He once bummed a bloke senseless and then dropped him alive in a barrel of acid and nailed the lid on and just left him in there for a month to see what it'd do. He tried to create a living zombie. He started drilling holes in people's heads and squirting random liquids into the skulls because he couldn't get sexual pleasure from a willing partner. And he thought fucking the dead was boring. So he kept trying to create like a human zombie. Honestly, I read the book. He drilled a hole in a bloke's head and he put boiling water in. No, that was it. The first one he put acid in and he instantly went into convulsions and died. So the second one, he tried boiling water and he lasted about 2 minutes and died. And then the third one, he put cold water in, and he's basically trying to create a human zombie. It's a mixture. All the shit you think of from 40k. Korn is the sort of psycho killer, bloodthirsty one. Sinch is the manipulative, sort of psychological, cunning one. And then you've got like Slanesh, which is full-blown candle wax on the nipples, butt plugs, dildos in your eye sockets, psychotic shit. All the things you can think of falls under the umbrella of crazy, right? And that in turn, if you keep going up, goes under the umbrella of crime. And no matter what insane shit we think of, if the person doing the totally insane batshit, spraying all the skulls, fucking dead kids' eyeballs, anything, if CNBC or CNN or the BBC reads about it and finds out that the bloke who did it happens to be black, they'll go, nothing to see here. And in today's news, a white man committed a pickpocket. You know, a white man had ran away from the petrol station without paying for the exorbitant fees. I mean, we really are living in a crazy, crazy world. Because again, people like me that are egalitarian, centrist, liberal chaps, we were always taught when I was a kid. Again, this is why most people who are sane are over the age of about 30, aren't they? Because if you went to school in the 90s, you were brought up to be egalitarian and sort of not judge people by the colour or the gender or the sexuality and just sort of run on with your life. And the only people you judged were pricks. So, like, if you were the type of person who does a Jeffrey Dahmer and sprays skulls, we don't like you. And if you were a person who was a nice person who didn't spray skulls, we liked you, regardless of what you looked like or what you put your cock in. It was quite a simplistic, simple system, really. Funny old thing, the more simple the system is, the more simple it is to follow. And the intersectionality umbrella is the most insane shit ever. You've got to flatly contradict yourself constantly, as we talked about in one of my previous videos, right? Where it's like, woman can have a cock, man can have babies until something annoys you and you feel like men are having an opinion on women's issues, and then they definitely can't. It's just one of thousands. I'm not going to repeat myself and go over it all. If you want to stare at the glaring hypocrisy, just go and watch that video I made a couple of days ago. It's lunacy. You can't make head nor tail of it. If you try and fathom it, you'll just send yourself doolally tap. So you have to just say, I'll just laugh. Just shrug it off and laugh and say, nothing to say makes any sense and not go any deeper than that. But this fucking instance, segueing unneatly, messily back into the subject at hand. Basically, they've memory all the video, and I can't find the actual police video, which I did find and put on a YouTube video about a year ago. But literally, she had the knife drawn back and was thrusting it. It was about that far away from this kid's torso. Like, she was mid-thrust. Yeah. And at that point, the copper shot her. And the left-wing liars in the media tried to make it as if the copper had done something wrong. And they were all like, oh, it's a tragedy. The mother, I hope this is in here. Let me see if it's in here. Another child lost. Another child lost. Yeah, but that child was less than half a second, 0.25 of a second from sticking a knife through another child's rib cage. And in those situations, you have to choose which child you're going to lose. Are you going to lose the child that's just about to fill a child full of fucking holes? Or do you want to lose the child that's innocent and not wielding a dagger? Again, answers on a postcard. So in fact, I'm just going to do a search for the word peace. No, I knew it wouldn't be in here. Right, well, anyway, they've memory halled it. The mother, when faced with the footage of the horrible little fat child about to end another child's life, when faced with the footage, she criticised the police officer, and I'm quoting, again, someone will have to find a video for me that I made. I'm quoting literally, she said, my daughter was a child of peace. A fucking child of peace. When she's literally going, yeah, her face is pulled into a rictus grin of hate as she maniacally plunges the dagger towards the breast of an innocent child. And the mother went on telly and said, that cop was an arsehole. My daughter was a child of peace. That's like calling Gazgul Thraka a child of peace. No, he's a fucking war boss. He'll pull your arms and legs off and beat you to death with them. That's not a child of peace, you psycho. So again, I don't understand. I'll tell you what I don't understand. I don't understand the 32% of Americans who are saying, oh yeah, Biden's doing a good job. Like what planet have you got to be living on? How is he doing a good job? What has he done a good job of? So this is what I'm saying. Like we're living in cloud cuckoo land. It doesn't matter what you do. There's about 30% of the population who, when the little fat stabber gets ventilated in a textbook shooting by a copper saving another child's life, the little fat stabber is the victim. So that's the point I'm trying to make. When the little fat stabber, the criminal, the thug, the murderer, would-be murderer, is trying to end a child's life and the copper does a textbook shooting and 99% of people see it and go, sorry, 99% of people that aren't woke, brain-dead communists see it and go, yeah, of course it was a good shooting. He stopped that little girl from getting killed. The person doing the stabbing is the victim, right? And in that in mind, I'm now going to take you to the BBC story that I was sent. So this is the meat of today's show, right? Have we all just don't memory all that one? The media have memory all that. I want you to remember it. Police fatally shoot big fat stabber after call about knife attack, right? Here it is. Teenage girl traumatized after police strip search, says mum. Right. Now, I'm going to have to try really hard to not piss myself laughing throughout this. And it's apparently traumatic. But seriously, try and remember what I've just said and hold to that and recall that there is a victim in this story, but it ain't the person that the BBC's calling the victim. Let's get started, shall we? So that headline straight away, you're like, fucking hell, the poor little girl for no reason. Teenager, what she was like, probably just standing outside McDonald's, and then the police strip searched her. Poor little teenage girl traumatized. Now let's have a read, shall we? Police fight police racism in London. Like Douglas Murray said, these lunatics shouted, hands up, don't shoot, at coppers armed with pepper spray. They couldn't shoot you if they wanted to, you silly bastard. They could be desperate to shoot. So Michael Ryan could be there, but if all he's got is a fucking big black dildo and some pepper spray, he can't shoot you, can he? Even if he really, really, really wants to. Johnny Rambo couldn't shoot you if all he's got's a fucking tit helmet and some pepper spray. A 15-year-old girl who was strip searched by police was left traumatized by the incident and later tried to kill herself, her mother says. Everything about this fucking stories it's just absurd, and like everything the woke say, contradicts itself in their own story. So I don't even have to look for another source. I can just read what they've written and point out the glaring inconsistencies in it. So it says, Olivia, not her real name, was handcuffed and had her underwear cut off in the presence of male officers, she added. London's Met Police has referred itself to the watchdog. The case follows the child of Child Q, a 15-year-old black pupil who was strip searched at school after she was wrongly accused of possessing drugs. Olivia, who is mixed race and autistic. Why is that relevant? Well, you know why that's relevant. Because if you're mixed race and autistic, it doesn't matter what you do. You can skull fuck a nun and burn an orphanage down. To the BBC, if you're mixed race and autistic, you should be allowed to do that. Because identity politics trumps the law, doesn't it? And if you're a communist and you get into the head of these people, the Oxford professors and the Guardian readers, you can even make that make sense, can't you? In that topsy-turvy world, because what they'll say, oh yeah, well, the law was written by cis-het patriarchs, and they purposely wrote these laws to stitch up mixed race autistics. These things are hundreds of years old. We didn't even know what fucking autistic was. And we didn't care about mixed race because there was no bastard foreign people in Britain. So, and again, to the 0.1% of deranged communists that watch this show, don't go, aha, he was wrong there. When I say no, I mean statistically insignificant, right? I know the numbers. You evidently don't. I know the numbers. Great Britain, 1940, 99.99% white, homogenous, just like Japan. So yes, when they wrote all these laws, murder, funny old thing, we didn't put murder on the fucking statute in 1965. They weren't worrying about mixed race autistic people, were they? So Olivia, who is pointless, we can just skip that entire sentence. Olivia was strip searched in December 2020. See? Perfect. This is now it's starting to sound like news. I'll just cover that with my hand. Olivia, who was strip searched in December 2020, the same month as child Q. Olivia's mum, who we are calling Lisa, calling Lisa to project her daughter's anonymity, and also because she'll probably be called something like fucking Matty Nung Wankbo, said she was given no warning that her child was going to be forcibly strip searched. Can you imagine that? You've got to fucking ring them. You've got criminals. You're dealing with criminals. You've got to ring the mums first. What's the difference? You wouldn't care if it was a 17-year-old white chav with a machete. They're not going to go, we can't deal with this machete-wielding chav. We just have to phone his fucking mum first. I mean, do me a favour. She told Radio 4's File on 4 programme that Olivia had already spent more than 20 hours in custody. She said she'd been out with some friends when they had an argument with two boys who called the police and alleged they were the victims of an attempted knife-point robbery. She was searched by the police at the scene and nothing was discovered. That's because the police are unprofessional and don't do a very good job. Olivia and her friends were then arrested because they have to, because they've obviously received a complaint. We all know that. At the time, Lisa was isolated with COVID-19, but she spoke to the police on the phone and told them about her daughter's autism and learning difficulties. Again, so you've committed crimes and you expect if you phone your mum and go, all right, we've got this little twat here who's been committing crimes. Oh, yeah, well, he's autistic and got learning difficulties. Oh, well, just let him off then. See you later. It's a good job, Jeffrey Dahmer. Imagine Fred West. Mr. West, we've got 19 bodies under your patio. Yeah, but I'm autistic and got learning difficulties. Oh, well, we better fuck off then. I'll tell you what, we'll go and have a go at your neighbour. He got a parking ticket last week. See you later. Of course they've got fucking idiots are always criminals. I know a lot of you might not have read the Sherlock Holmes sort of books, but most criminals aren't criminal geniuses. Most of them are fucking idiots, right? Because normal people just get on with their life. You very, very rarely meet a super high IQ criminal genius. Yeah, you get the 1% in prisons like Bernie Madoff or whatever, some clever bastard who's done some fraud. But 90% of the people in prisons are there because they've got the IQ for fucking sausage roll. You can't just let people off if they say they've got learning difficulties. I mean, have you seen Fred West? Have you ever seen Fred West? He looks like fucking Mongo in his wedding photo, like that. Yeah, he had learning difficulties. No shit, Fred West had the IQ of a pull-along duck. But we don't let him off. It's irrelevant. If you're breaking the law, having autism and having learning difficulties is completely fucking irrelevant. I don't care. If I come downstairs and there's a lunatic in my kitchen, fucking my dog's still warm corpse, I don't care if he's got learning difficulties. I just want him to bury my dog in the back garden and fuck off to the local maximum security prison, preferably the psych ward, because he'll never get out, or he shouldn't do, and he'll spend the rest of his life eating mashed banana and headbutting his padded wall. I don't care about people's identity politics. Why does the BBC think the people care? Nobody cares about criminal identity politics. Nobody. Even, dare I say, left-wing Guardian readers. If they have a black man knife-wielding, robbing their wife, cutting the bra straps off because he thinks he'll have a go on the missus while he's having the handbag, he's not going to concern himself with the ethnicity of the perpetrator. He's going to call the police and say, quick, there's a bloke just about to donkey one into my missus. Nobody cares about identity politics. If you're fucking committing a crime, bank robbery, I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't. Stop the bank robber. Get the flying squad, and if he's armed, ventilate the cunt. I don't care if he's in a wheelchair, wearing a hijab, identifies as a fucking demisexual femboy, or whatever bollocks, nonsensical terms to come up with. Just stop the crime. Is this an unfair thing to say? Do most people care about identity politics when criminality is taking place? I would say nobody sane does. Anyway, I'll continue. Her mum said Olivia handed over a small blade used for self-harming. to police. So there we fucking have it. After 10 paragraphs of bollocks, identity politics, mixed race, autistic, self-harm, oh, victim, 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 victim. Oh, look. Police found a small blade used for self-harming. Also, no, I've been talking about them contradicting themselves. Just to draw your attention to the top of the story. Let's have a look. First paragraph. The 15-year-old girl who was strip searched was traumatized and later tried to kill herself. Well, hang on. If she's got a history of self-harm and she's always stabbing herself with a fucking knife, I don't think you can really blame the police for this incident, telling her that she should kill herself. To me, that sounds like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? It's classic woke doublethink, the ability to believe in two things at once. Was she self-harming and constantly stabbing herself? Communist? Or did this one incident cause her to try and kill herself? Which was it? You can't have both, can you? Fucking pick one. And obviously they've decided, well, you can have both because it's the BBC. But again, I would posit that anybody watching this thinks, yeah, Olivia had a fucking knife on her. So Olivia and her drug dealer pals were arrested and she had a knife on her. Oh, no, it's not a knife. It's a sharpened stick. Also used for self-harming. Oh, also, so this one, it's also used for self-harming. So she had two weapons on her. She had a knife, a small blade, a knife, and she had a sharp stick. So she had two fucking weapons on her. All right, a sharp stick, a shiv, yeah? I'll call this a knife, yeah, not a small blade, a knife. A knife was found on her, and she had a shiv. Doesn't sound quite as nice now, does it? This happened when she changed, because the coppers are useless and missed that. So she had two fucking weapons on her, at which point 6 officers handcuffed her, forcibly stripped her and carried out an intimate search. Yes, because the useless twats on the beat missed the 2 knives, right? She had a shiv and a knife. When they ask her, and any copper will tell you this, even me with my small amount of police training when I went to Northern Ireland, one of the first things you say to someone, you're detaining them, is, do you have any weapons on you or anything that could be used to harm me or yourself? You have to ask them it. Do you have a weapon on you? It happens even in rudimentary things. Traffic stops. They'll say, do you have a weapon on you, mate? And they say, no. That's what they ask. So when you've broken that trust and they've said to you, do you have a weapon on you? And you go, no. And then a knife falls out and you go, whoops. And then you take off your sock and a shiv falls out. It's like fucking I'm going to get you sucker where he just keeps pulling guns out. Have you seen that? It's like, have I got enough guns yet? And he's like, oh, another one. If you say you've got no weapons on you and every time you move an article of clothing, different varieties of blades fall out of your fucking clothing, you can't really blame the coppers for losing the rag and flashing and saying, right, strip searcher. She told us she's got no knife. She's got fucking 2. And this is for those of you that are woke and have the memory retention of a drunk goldfish. The reason they probably lost the rag and strip searched at this point is because last year, I believe Whiskey Straight Al told me about this one. A policeman was shot. In fact, let me look that up. Shot by suspect in the van. I'll probably be able to find it. Croydon Custody Centre. There it is. Found it. Again, it's too easy, this. If you've got a normal, fully functioning brain, you can always find more evidence to support your case because you just remember it because of reality. And everything's off the BBC, so you can't say, oh, right-wing propaganda. No, left-wing propaganda, but occasionally they still have to report the fact. This happened 25th of September 2020. Sadie Cunt and Cressida Scissor and fucking pretty fucking useless there, pretending to be upset because the copper was shot in the chest. The bloke was arrested, put in the back of the van, and then as the doors opened, shot the custody officer because the police officers didn't do their job correctly, right? And he was armed. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ali. It was in custody. So this is what I'm saying. So the reason that they now lose the fucking rag massively if you've been taken into custody and you say, I've got no weapons on me, and loads of assorted blades fall out your clothes, it's because these dopey twats here, these dopey twats will have definitely screwed the nut after that poor bastard got murdered because of incompetence and said, if you even remotely suspect that a suspect is armed, you fucking strip search them. And they probably lost the rag, the arresting officers, when 2 weapons fell out of this girl's clothing. So they then went, fucking search the little twat. Check behind her fucking piss flaps. After what happened to that poor bastard, can you blame the coppers for being like, right, get the minge mirror out, one of them ones you look under a car with? I'd be like, get the gusset fucking checker out. I don't know what machinery they have for it nowadays, but I'd check everything. I'd be there peeling the flaps apart with with a pair of barbecue tongs. It's got to be something up here, because it's lunacy. They were told in no uncertain terms after that man died, you have to fucking check for weapons. So when this little, the minge mirror, I invented that. Don't want to freak anybody out, civil liberties people. That's not a real thing, a minge mirror. The gusset checker, right? The one goes under the car. You can't allow it. You've got to fucking check them thoroughly because 2 weapons fell out of the little twat's clothes. So that's what we'll call it. Richie come up with that then. The minge mirror, nice one. Check it out. The flap folder. That's what else we've got. Imagine he walks in, like after the shooting, they issued all the police with a tool roll. It's got a flap folder, a mirror, the minge mirror, the fucking I don't know what else you want to call it. The ring piece, fucking binoculars. Just check everything. Check everything, because I don't want a copper to get killed. And I don't see how you can criticize the police for any of this. So, oh my God, and it keeps going. It keeps going. So we've got here, they've just found 2 knives on her. You horrible, horrible little chav slut. A knife and a shiv. And then they did that and they say, oh yeah, Olivia was actually on a period at the time too. So it's just spooning on the identity bollocks. Like, oh yeah, she's autistic. We'd still have to check. Oh yeah, she's mixed race. Yeah, but she's got 2 knives. Oh yeah, she's on a period. Okay, then we'll just let her out then. How stupid is it? She was absolutely distraught. Well, don't fucking carry 2 knives around then, you mad cunt. She became quite reclusive as a result of this. She was already stabbing herself, according to you. What's the worst? Stabbing yourself or being a bit reclusive? I know plenty of people who are a bit reclusive. It's not the end of the world. I don't know anybody who sticks themselves with a shiv. So it's just, the whole story is just lies, identity politics, nonsense, doublethink, and total, utter deviation from reality. Lunacy. Oh, she spent a lot of time in her room. She was already doing that. And then she attempted suicide because she's a cunt and she should be going to court. She probably didn't want to pay the piper, did she? She appeared in court accused of possession of a bladed weapon and was found not guilty after magistrates accepted the items were used for self-harming. So we get to the end of it. Clown world is complete. No member of the general public, if that was the type of thing where you go in front of a jury rather than one of these corrupt left-wing magistrates, nobody would accept that argument. Nobody would ever say, okay, she had 2 knives on her, but because she only ever used them for self-harming, as far as we know, she's definitely innocent. It's the worst excuse ever. It's like Fred West saying, oh yeah, I bought the concrete en masse from fucking Home Depot, and I didn't know there was any young women full of jizz in the concrete. Not my fault. Okay, then we'll accept that. It's a lie a criminal uses to get away with things. It's absurd. So this is what I'm getting at, right? If you want the whole world to descend into madness, if you want the system to fucking disappear up its own arse, this is what you do. You disillusion the general public into thinking that the law works. Because in this day and age, the law doesn't work. If you can put yourself on the victim pyramid, like that sexual deviant career criminal in Middlesbrough who was caught frottering himself up against a fucking wheelie bin and then said, I'm a woman, Anna. And they went, yeah, let him off then. When that happens, the general public say, I'm not doing this anymore then. Why am I obeying the law? The law is an ass. The law doesn't see things in black and white. The law is on the fucking autism spectrum itself. Because you can break the law with impunity. If you then put yourself on the victim pyramid, the magistrates will let you off. And then, and this is the best bit, the family's now bringing a civil case against the force. So not only do you get off with drug dealing and carrying 2 weapons, which means you should be in fucking young offenders institution at the very minimum, you can then sue the taxpayer, because when they say against the force, what they mean, ladies and gentlemen, is you're paying the fucker. So this criminal scum who should be breaking rocks is found not guilty because they said autistic, mixed race, self-harm. And then the family get a few £100,000 of your money. Why are we still playing the game? And as I've said, you can't get angry, because when you get angry, you'll will give up and become a fucking. You'll join the clan. Like, this type of stuff is what makes people lose all faith in society and go, well, I'm not playing the game anymore then. You've said we have to pick a side. I'm going to pick one. If I have to hold my nose and vote for the right-wing arsehole, as long as he's promised that he's going to fix these problems, and I'll do it. So I've said before, I'm not a Republican, but I'll vote for them if the alternative is a wokeist lunatic who thinks up and down is left and left is right and the law is an ass and it's not applied equally. This is how you make people into fucking lunatics. This is where you get white supremacists, mosque shooters. This is what creates them, because they see it's the bitterness I keep talking about, the resentment. You'll get some white kid who'll get pulled over for a parking ticket and the cops will beat him up and he'll get 6 months for resisting arrest. And then he reads this and he goes, you know what? Fuck it. I've got nothing left to lose. I'm already getting mistreated. I might as well go mental with a shotgun. That's what people do. It's human nature. Bitterness, resentment, spite. That's what I've talked about many, many times. This is what makes people go crazy. This fucking criminal, drug dealer, stabby, knifey, shivvy is now the innocent victim. And you're going to give her hundreds of thousands of pounds in compensation. And you tell me why any normal bloke pulling his pudding out should bother keeping the system up. Why should they? And now, again, this is what I was talking about the other day. Of course they will. Of course they will. They'll say anything because criminals lie. So now, how many things have you got to pick from now? You can pick any of them. They get you in front of a judge and you say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. And you can't tell me I'm not a woman, penis-wielding oppressor. Oh, and I'm autistic. Oh, yeah, and I was on my period. Don't say I'm a man. No, I'm not a man. So I was on my period. And I'm autistic, and I'm a cross-dresser, and I'm a follower of the religion of peace. Oh, yeah, and I identify as disabled, and I self-harm. And the shotgun that I robbed the bank with, that was for self-harming. I was going to shotgun my lip off. But you stopped me before I did it. Fascist. And then the judge, the activist left-wing judge, will go, all right then, that'll do. £50 fine. Yeah, criminals lie. Weird that, isn't it? Weird. I mean, it's got worse. I was joking about this, saying like long COVID. We've all said it. Long COVID is the new bad back. Well, I'm an autistic trans self-harmer is going to be the new criminal go-to. I mean, how many criminals now are coming out as female? The crime statistics for women have gone through the roof. Because women are now doing raping, murdering, killing, getting other women pregnant with the big, long, squirty clitorises. The world's gone crazy and every woman now gets nicked. Well, turns out when you read the media, when the woman was 23, she fathered fucking 8 kids by 6 different fucking women. So we're done, aren't we? We're done. We're done, and all you can do is laugh about it. Like I said, you can't get enraged about it because then you will just quit. You'll say, I'm not, you'll do what Sadwings does. Stop working, buy a generator, fill a fucking bunker with guns and MREs. And, well, I dare I say, I don't think that solution works for most people. I think most people should try and get on with their lives, have a career, have a family, and do the hobbies. But there's massive motivation now not to play the game, because the game is rigged. The system's not fair. And this little bastard walked. So thanks for that story, my mate. Can I find the meme without showing his face? Oh, there it is, yeah. There's the meme he sent me. See that shithole in the far distance, Simba? That's London, that is. That's where parents of street robbers complain when police find their kids' knives stuffed in their underwear. You couldn't make it up, could you? So there's today's fucking story. Fantastic, innit? Fantastic. Crazy times, ladies and gents. I'm not even talking about monkeypox. I can't be asked. I couldn't give a monkey's pox for the monkey fucking pox. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care about any of it. And I'm not staying in the fucking house. And I'm just not doing it. In fact, if I get it, out of spite, that's what I'll do. I'll fucking strip naked and go gallivanting through the streets, rubbing my fucking sore ass cheeks up against the swings at the local play park. It's like, I'm just going to do the opposite of what I get told now, because we're not playing on this. It's not even. If I get arrested for trivialities, but stabby children who are autistic and mixed race could do whatever they like, I'm not playing by the rules anymore. I've told you, fiddle your taxes legally. Find a fucking taxman like Jimmy Carr and fiddle your taxes. There's one advice I will give you. I don't think you should quit working, stop doing your hobbies, become a fucking survivalist, but like Sadwings there. He's American. They're a special breed. But do everything that you can possibly get away with that's legal to not play the game anymore. I don't ring the police. I never have anything to do with them. I don't respect the police. I don't talk to them. I ignore them. I try and have as little to do with the system as possible. And yes, I pay a bloke to do my taxes because I'm fucking sick. I'm not playing the game anymore. You can see your artistic. I don't know what that is. I think you've just invented something there, Kate, but I'll try it. I'm sure I can find some. I'm sure if I got a good lawyer in America, they'd find some expert to turn up in court and say it was true. Right. I'm going to call it there because I've got a cold. I'm coughing like a twat. Thanks for listening, as usual. I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, God. Even soldiering on with a bit of a pansy cold. So, yeah, nice one. Class that, innit? Share the story. Actually, I'll put the story in the link so you can send it to your friends and say, yeah, the world's gone fucking mad. Here it is. Put it in the link. That is one of the daftest fucking things I've ever read. And I think the whole world should feel the love. Yeah, winner. So, quality. The law is an ass. We knew that when that little twat set the cenotaph on fire and nobody did anything about that either. Anyway, all right. Cheers, guys. See you tomorrow. Toodle pip.